Greetings, welcome, bienvenidos, hola, aloha, ni hao, namaste, konnichiwa, bonjour, buongiorno, sawadee karup, guten tag, jiao, vivat cat bang, half a day, jai janendra, privyet, salam, shalom, peace. Now, go vegan. Peace how? Go vegan. Welcome to this special episode of Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden. Actually, it's more special than a special episode. It's a special edition, a special emergency edition of Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden. And the reason for doing today's interview with Will Tuttle is maybe not what you think. I mean, the reason we're doing this today is actually in the hope that Bill Gates will get wind of it and go to goveganradio.com and click the donation button there and give, let's call it a censorship donation in the amount of anything over $500 million, and which is basically chump change that falls behind Bill Gates' couch cushions, as far as we can tell, right? I mean, can you imagine how much change has fallen around Bill Gates' couch cushions? I mean, we'd need a Brinks truck to haul it all away to Go Vegan Radio headquarters. And by the way, Go Vegan Radio is certainly willing to accept $500 million in nickels and dimes from Gates' couch cushions. And I suppose we don't have to search around the love chair, the love seat cushions, because probably nothing there. Poor Bill Gates, all that money, and still no love. Can't buy me love, huh? A billionaire can't buy love. What hope is there for a hundredaire like me? Apparently, Melinda Gates is all upset that Bill wasn't completely faithful to her, but what would you expect from someone who wants to penetrate everybody on planet Earth with his Microsoft prick? Prick of the skin. Uh, you know, um, and I don't know what his pickup line would be at bars. Like, baby, I got an operating system for you. Um, Cheating on Melinda. And now Bill and Melinda are both single and on the meat market again. I mean, and that's the real meat market, not Gates' GMO vegan meat alternatives like Impossible Burger, in which he is so heavily invested. But it would be amazing to see, what would you imagine a Bill Gates personal ad to be? What would that look like? In Tinder or Match.com or Jeffrey Epstein Island Tours.com. Oh, by the way, that's right. The news is coming out, the kiss and tell news, or the don't kiss and tell news, that Melinda was a bit peeved that Bill was spending too much time with Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. Yeah. She was afraid that it would tarnish Bill's reputation as a greedy, genocidal, eugenicist megalomaniac committing crimes against humanity through experimentation on uninformed human subjects, resulting in death, injury, and sterilization to depopulate the planet. In fact, when you think about it, ladies, um, that is my Jerry Lewis imitation. Oh, do I do imitations of people, right? So, ladies. Is it not obvious? There is your response to Bill Gates' personal ad. Oh, you're going to owe me big time. I'm going to expect you to tip me a few $100,000, just stick it in my. So here's what I would imagine it to be. Here's an ad in response to Bill Gates' personal ad. Attractive single woman, proficient in Word, looking for greedy, genocidal, eugenicist, megalomaniac currently committing crimes against humanity through experimentation on uninformed human subjects, resulting in death, injury, and sterilization to depopulate the planet, who also likes candlelit dinners and long walks on the beach. Perfect, right? All right. Also, just to seal the deal, since Bill Gates has never met a GMO he doesn't like, or love, actually, tell him you took the injection and that you now personally consider yourself officially to be a genetically modified organism. That will really turn him on. I mean, seriously. I mean, as soon as he sees that, he's going to start pulling off that sweater, and you know what it's going to reveal, right? Another sweater. Because Bill Gates is not really a human being. He is a genetically engineered sweater knitted with strands of DNA decorated with spike protein. So, anyhow, I really hope that you're not hearing this. I don't know. Am I embarrassing myself with this rant here? Or I really hope that you're not hearing this, and I really hope that you're not going to be hearing the upcoming interview today with Dr. Will Tuttle, author of The World Peace Diet. You know, the hope sincerely is that Bill Gates gets wind of this and pays me off like he's paid off all the other media, the mainstream corporate media, and the antisocial media. You know, I mean, the clock is ticking, Mr. Gates. It's ticking. A $500 million or more investment in censorship to prevent me from posting this podcast. Time is running out. Let's face it. Really, you know, the price tag on truth prevention, you know, that's invaluable, right? I mean, that's nothing to you, considering that price tag. You know, compare it with what it cost you to buy off everyone else, all the professional liars in the media and government officials and the medical industry and everybody in entertainment who's telling people to get the jab, you know, get vaccinated with the vaccine that's not a vaccine, something that's nobody has ever been injected. These are operating systems, genetic coding. But okay. Anyway, okay. So anyway, I know. Right. Okay. Well, so 500 million, Mr. Gates. That shouldn't be much to you, although I know your divorce settlement may be costing you a pretty penny right now. And I suppose if you and Melinda go halvesies, well, what will that leave you? Only $65 billion? Ah, a pittance, right? $65 billion. That's $65,000 million. So no wonder you need such a large mansion. I mean, to make 65,000 piles of $1 million each. Whew. Well, I'm sure your next wife, or your next future ex-wife, will be happy to organize those piles for you. And even if she doesn't want to do it, you can always genetically recode her cells, so she will do so happily, assuming you have Wi-Fi at your mansion. Okay. All right. So anyway, let me quickly check PayPal here. I'm not seeing that censorship donation yet from Mr. Gates. I'm telling you, go to goveganradio.com, click donate. Time is running out. No $500 million there yet. Well, okay. While we're waiting for the censorship funds to come in, I would like to give a quick shout out to all the 100% vegan restaurants who have managed to stay in business during these hard times. So please, everybody, support your local 100% vegan restaurants wherever you are, whether it be Loving Hut or Veggie Grill or 100% vegan, organic, non-GMO Vegetarian House in San Jose. That's one of my favorite restaurants in the world at 520 East Santa Clara Street. I know it's non-GMO, so Bill Gates may not like it and may not go there, but you'll love it. You definitely will. The food is amazing. Check it out at vegetarianhouse.com. Vegetarianhouse.com. And it is recommended that you take off your mask between bites, or actually, during bites of the food there at Vegetarian House. And while all credible studies about masks seem to point that they don't work to block viruses, and there are health warnings about masks too, that they may actually be detrimental to your health, suppressing your oxygen intake, and maybe that's why a lot of people aren't thinking so clearly these days. And suddenly, I don't know, people you wouldn't expect to be on the side of big pharma are suddenly like they're public relations firms or something. But so maybe with the masks, there's not enough oxygen, oxygen to the brain, and so anyway, masks do work for your health. They do have a positive impact on your health, though. Remember, if you wear them when you are within 6 feet of meat, dairy, fish, and eggs, always wear them then. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice. And also, while you yourself may, you may consider yourself to be a GMO right now after getting jabbed, you probably still don't want to feed GMOs to your beloved dogs and cats. And dealing with dealing with this pandemic, have you found that you've come to love dogs and cats so much more, and maybe love people a little less? We still love people. We still love people, but we love the dogs and cats so much more, and we want them to be happy and healthy, and you don't want to feed them GMOs. So, I do recommend Evolution, vegan dog and cat food, non-GMO. In fact, there are organic varieties available too. Evolution is for all stages of your dogs and cats' lives. It's vegan, family-owned business, been around about 3 decades now, and not one product recall in those 30 years. And see if you can say that about your commercial so-called dog and cat food. Those recalls are happening all the time. Not one recall with Evolution, and Daisy loves it, and dogs and cats are living healthy, long lives with Evolution. You can go to petfoodshop.com, petfoodshop.com. Also, you can call and talk to Dr. Eric Weissman, who is the founder of Evolution. He does have special formulations of supplements for you or your companion animals if you have health issues. Yes, he is qualified to do health consultation for humans and other animals. You can call him at 651-228-0632. 651-228-0632, and talk to Dr. Eric Weissman at Evolution. Okay, so, and by the way, there are certain supplements being suggested to enhance your immune system in these challenging times. And remember, when you are injected with the mRNA, the operating system that codes your cells, when you're injected with that, it's actually meant to circumvent your natural immune system. And I don't know, that doesn't sound good to me. I like the idea of enhancing our natural immune systems. And what's being suggested for the times in which we live are quercetin, Quercetin, Quercitin, zinc, vitamin C and vitamin D, and go for the vegan vitamin D. Is that D3? I think it is. But anyway, one form of vitamin D is not vegan. The other is vegan. Always choose the vegan one. Okay. So, all right. Well, I'm not seeing that $500 million censorship donation from Bill Gates yet. So I don't know. All right, maybe he's all tied up with divorce lawyers or practicing his dancing moves in front of the mirror or looking at profile pictures on Tinder. So anyway, he's you know I don't know. He's the money's not here. I'm going to post this podcast. It's going to cost Bill Gates a lot more than 500 million to delete this post. So what can I say? Hang around. One of the most amazing discussions is coming up with Dr. Will Tuttle, author of The World Peace Diet, coming up next on Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden at goveganradio.com. All right, this is Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden, our 20th anniversary. Yes, 20 years of doing this program. I can't believe I was only vegan for 17 years when the show started. I can't imagine being vegan for only 17 years. Maybe my next guest, Will Tuttle, can reminisce over our long lives of being vegan, and I'm so happy to have Will joining us today. It's been too long since we've had Dr. Will Tuttle on the show, and so he's the illustrious author of the World Peace Diet, and I would say number one Amazon bestseller, but I don't really want to say Amazon, and don't want to give Jeff Bezos any more money. He has enough billions. I don't think the billionaires are doing doing good things with their money. They should be cut off at 1 billion, and the rest goes to Go Vegan Radio. I think so. I think Trump said that's what he's going to do when he gets back in power. It's going to be all billionaires limited to 1 billion. The rest goes to Go Vegan Radio, so we can veganize the world and get things back together here. So um, anyway, I guess, to start, it would be nice to start with, you know, unity and peace and all of that good stuff. So I guess I could start off today's show saying, that really I would say 100% of this audience right now listening can agree upon one thing, and that is 50% of the people out there have lost their minds, are crazy and stupid. Okay, so I'm sure 100% of us agree on that. So we're all together, right? And then as soon as I give my opinion on anything, 50% of those listening will think I have lost my mind and have gone crazy and I'm stupid, at least according to what is written on Facebook these days. But, these are really crazy times. So, but anyway, uh, as we will explore with Will coming up on today's show, and as I said, he's the author of The World Peace Diet, and he's a hero in the vegan movement, has been an eloquent spokesperson for forever for the vegan cause, and, in the past we've learned he's had quite the life, everything from getting his PhD from UC Berkeley to becoming a Zen monk, which I think everybody who gets a PhD from UC Berkeley does become a Zen monk. I think that's kind of required. And he's the winner of numerous awards. The one with which I am most impressed is the Shining World Hero Award from the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association. I'm impressed with that because I'm also a recipient of that award. Believe it or not, there was a slow week, and I got the jacket and the award, and I thought I would mention that today, so that in listening to the show, um, you would hear two recipients of the Shining World Hero Award from the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association, giving us hopefully at least the credibility of a Pfizer press release or something with whatever you hear here. So, well, Tuttle, help me. How are you?
Oh, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I mean, I just love what you're saying. It really is so funny. I mean, yeah, we have the credibility of a Pfizer press release. Now we can both have our golden jackets on. That would be great.
I love that jacket. It was the best jacket I ever had in my life. It was warm.
Right,
The hood was great.
right.
It was like we were always safe.
Yeah.
It was bright and shiny. Well, we were the shining world heroes. And I did at the time question. I said like, why am I getting this award? Like I don't get it. And apparently, promoting veganism merits getting the Shining World Hero Award. So I like to share that with all the vegans in the world and all the vegans who help other people go vegan. Who are all shining world heroes.
That's right.
All the people who have vegan restaurants, which we hope are still in business. Please support your local 100% vegan restaurant. Do takeout or go in or whatever you can do. I don't know. I don't know what's happened. The world is so upside down. I think since the last time um, we spoke that I don't even know, up, down, right, left. I mean, I don't even know what to make of anything. So, can you make anything of anything going on right now? What are you perceiving?
Right. Okay. Well, thanks, Bob. Yeah, you're right. Things in the last year and a few months, with the onset of this pandemic, so-called, have really taken, I think, a lot of people by surprise, and I think it really harming in many ways our society and the various social justice movements, especially I think the vegan movement is having a hard time because it's a lot of division, and I think a lot of co-optation has been happening. So I think more than ever, it's important for us to promote veganism. And what I see happening, which is, I guess, a somewhat controversial view, is the hurting of humanity. And this is something I've been warning about for 30 years. I've been a vegan, it's like you say, I went vegan back in 1980, so it's about 40 years now. And
So you're vegan. Well, I went in
just a few,
'84,
yeah,
so you're
yeah. It's just a
vegan
couple of
four
years
years
more than
more than me.
you, yeah.
So
But
you have each of us saves so according to the Stockholm International Water
right,
Institute, a vegan needs 10,000 gallons of water to grow his or her food in a year, and a non-vegan needs 320,000. So we save 300,000 gallons of water every year, and I calculated that I've saved about 9 or 10 million gallons of water, but it looks like you have saved 1.2 million more than I have. So
yeah, and I'm sure that it's a gross underestimate. I mean, I think we're probably saving even a lot more than that, as well as animals,
yeah, we're
over
saving
100 a year at
everything. I mean,
least.
the
I
vegans
mean,
are the
probably a lot more than that. Right.
superheroes who
I
can
know.
save everything. But,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's so important to try to reduce our violent footprint here on this earth while we're here. And but what I was just going to say briefly is that for so many years, at least 35 years, I've been publicly warning about the old principle, which is one way of saying it is the golden rule. Another way of saying it is, I call it in the World Peace Life, the boomerang effect. Whatever you sow, so shall you reap. What we put out comes back. And we have been insisting on really horribly abusing animals and taking away their freedom, force medicating them, impregnating them against their will, stealing their babies, and so forth. And this kind of just atrocious abuse, which is completely unnecessary because we can all thrive on a plant-based way of eating and living, is, I think, really starting to come back on humanity, and we don't seem to have the clarity. Even many vegans don't seem to have the clarity to see this happening to us, that our own children are getting forced medicated. We're even ourselves perhaps getting forced medicated, and that our basic rights and freedoms
so we were all
are being taken away.
We were forced to have meat, dairy, fish, and eggs down our throats all our lives, right? And without even thinking, without a warning, in a sense, the vaccinations are actually a violation of the Nuremberg Code. You're supposed to
It's an experiment.
Yeah, it's an experiment on humanity, and there's supposed to be full disclosure, to all the subjects of all the risks, and they don't even know what the risks are. Nothing like this has ever been done to anybody. Nobody has ever had operating systems, these little with genetic codes to change our body, to trick our body, to code our cells. I mean, this is a new biotechnology, never been tested, and there are horrendous results happening. There are many, many adverse events and serious injuries and deaths attributed to this. And
it's actually it's up to 3,800 as of April 26th. There was over 3,800, which is more than 20 years. So just in 4 months, we have more deaths
in the
due to
US.
this vaccine. In the U.S. Due to this injection. It's not a vaccine. Than 20 years. And that's only one. They say, according to the studies, that only between 1 and the most 10% are actually even reported to this system. So we're talking about a huge
VAERS, the
vaccine adverse event
reporting system.
Right. So you're right, Bob. And I think these
more
kinds
deaths
of things,
than 9/11. We more deaths than 9/11. That's right.
Way more. Yeah. It's and the problem, of course, that you have seen and I've seen as well, very clearly through all these years of research and so forth, is that it really has been the pharmaceutical industry that's been the main. I think they profit more than even the meat, dairy, and egg industries off of animal agriculture. There's over 10,000 different drugs and hormones and antibiotics that have been approved to be used on imprisoned cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys, ducks, geese, and factory farm fishes, and so the pharmaceutical industry is making literally hundreds of billions of dollars of sales on drugs for all those imprisoned animals. Then people eat that stuff. They get diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, endless problems. So they get huge amount of drugs and profits from that. And then on top of that, we force these animals into horrible psychological trauma. So these animals are suffering from depression and anxiety and insomnia. And again, we find the pharmaceutical industry profiting from the same exact, like we say, whatever we sow, we reap. So the sale, that's their biggest market actually, is psychological drugs for people with insomnia and depression and anxiety and so forth, just exactly what we do to these animals. So from the very beginning, really, I've been saying that the biggest enemy that the vegan movement has is the pharmaceutical industry, and it's also become, I think, the biggest enemy of humanity, really. I mean, they've taken over the media. I mean, virtually completely. They've captured the media. They've captured the FDA, the NIAID and NIH, and the entire health establishment, the Supreme Court, the executive. I mean, you have that much money, and the decades go by. They keep drawing the strings ever tighter. So how is it possible that we could think that we could trust these pharmaceutical industry representatives in the media and the government when we know that they've been the worst enemy that we've been facing in terms of liberating animals, and now they've got human animals right in their sights? I think. I mean, we're finding ourselves basically the test subjects of a huge experiment. They're making billions of dollars, and they have complete immunity from any kind of lawsuits, right? I mean, there's no way that anyone, even if you're killed or whatever happens, and we're finding hundreds of thousands of worldwide of very serious adverse effects besides death to these injections already, and it's just starting. So I'm really hoping that we see that there's some kind of a waking up of humanity and a refusal to just be willingly herded like we do to animals, just herded right into the chutes, right into our own demise, because this is something that our ancestors and everyone has just basic freedom. Without basic freedom of speech and of assembly and of religion, and of petitioning our government, these basic freedoms, we don't have a movement. We can't do anything. We can't communicate. We can't really. I mean, and censorship has gotten to the point now where we can say, well, we didn't like what they were saying, so it's good that they get censored. And then next month they won't they won't like what we're saying, and we'll be censored.
Yeah.
The
Or
vegan
they
movement
have a
can easily
fact
be
checker.
censored.
They have a fact
Right.
checker come
The
along
fact
who's
checking
paid by
already.
Johnson
Right.
and Johnson or something, or owned by Johnson and Johnson, or Bill
They
Gates. I
are.
mean, let's face it, Bill
Right.
Gates' money is what's fanning the fires here on what's going on. He's behind Moderna and has made a fortune in the pharmaceutical industry.
That's where the big profits are. And again, we have to really be careful, because Pfizer is probably the number one corporate criminal in the entire United States. They've been fined over $2.5 billion and for racketeering, for bribery, for deceit over the years. Johnson and Johnson, the same thing. Moderna is completely they've never brought a product to market. I mean, how is it possible that we could actually seriously think we can trust these corporations, which have a track record like the mafia, essentially? I mean, they're completely criminal operations. And so the irony is that when we speak up just a little bit, not only are we censored by the social media, but by other people who think that, oh, we're not following the science, right? We're not following the science. I mean, I have a PhD from Berkeley, and I took doctorate level courses in quantitative and qualitative research methodologies. And one of the main things I learned is that basically you can prove anything with research. What really matters is who's funding the studies. And what's happened now is that these massively wealthy and powerful organizations and institutions control the narrative in science and control the narrative of the scientists themselves. And scientists, even if they do speak out, they're also marginalized, and they're also bribed. There's a massive amount of bribery going on. Fauci himself has given out over almost $500 million, and so he's got everybody basically paid off. So we have to get savvy. I think we have to somehow snap out of this delusion and really wake up and realize that if we're going to have a world where peace and freedom and justice are possible, we have to not only go vegan, we have to go vegan, number one, but number two, we have to stop being so gullible and naive in the face of these narratives that are really toxic in the extreme degree. They're really narratives that are designed to enslave us and our children. And I'm so grateful, really, for you, Bob, that you are understanding this, because a lot of the vegan MDs, for example, and I understand MDs. MDs in a lot of ways are in a golden cage, right? I mean, they are very highly respected, but if they say anything against the CDC or the WHO or the NIH or any of these governmental organizations or the AMA, they will probably lose their medical license. So they just keep their mouths shut, or they go along with this whole charade. And it's according to some of the top lawyers in the world and other people, this is the greatest crime against humanity probably in the history of the world. And we're talking about millions of people that have, billions really, that are losing basic freedoms. And we have this tendency of just trusting these doctors.
I see it that way myself. I see this as the greatest crime against humanity ever. I mean, people are being programmed. You don't know what's going to happen down the road. So many people are getting ill immediately after the injection. And, they talk about a year or two down the road, this spike protein having an effect on the brain like mad cow disease, a spongiform encephalopathy. I mean,
Right.
and nowhere are they saying that this prevents you from getting COVID. In fact, people get COVID who are fully vaccinated. So, and they talk about people who are not vaccinated um, being somehow infected through some transmission from the people who are vaccinated. So you have half the people saying, "Keep the unvaccinated away from me. They're impure. They shouldn't travel or go to school or work or go to the bathroom." And then the people the people who are not vaccinated saying, "Hey, if those people are infecting, us, like, okay, I'll go for the vaccinated and non-vaccinated sections at Yankee Stadium, I guess, And it's not a vaccine. And of course, they like to, immediately call people anti-vaxxers. That, I guess, is the biggest insult that they have going right now is anti-vaxxer. That's the dirty word, even though these aren't vaccines. And even if one were to look at traditional vaccines, as I have in the past, ooh, I come pretty close to being able to be called an anti-vaxxer if you consider injections of mercury and aluminum and polysorbate 80 and eggs and pigs and monkeys and all sorts of things in the traditional vaccines. But now it's an operating system. This is brand new technology with the mRNA, the messenger RNA, and suddenly we have nanotech in our system in little lipid bubbles to trick our immune system to get past our immune system. So I think right there, that's a problem. So that's an experiment on humanity on how to trick one's immune system with this foreign genetically modified materials, that's supposed to code your cells. That, that this is the test. We're getting our cells recoded, and everybody's saying, yeah, well, we have to produce that spike protein. And then the Salk Institute comes out and says, hey, the spike protein is what's causing disease and damaging and destroying cells and causing vascular problems. And people are getting blood clots left and right. And my vegan friends, I didn't really expect one vegan to support this vaccination, this big pharma marketing scheme, basically based on fear and control. And I wouldn't have expected one. Even, we always hated vivisection. We always hated experimenting on the innocent, and we protested it at UCLA and, all these labs. And suddenly we're for vivisection and experimenting on everyone, on people. I mean, we have to care about people too, and we're being
Right.
injected. This is penetration. This is penetration. This is vivisection on everyone. Every human is now a lab human. Every human. And we're being coerced into doing it. Students have to attend school or, whatever. This vaccine passport, this show us your papers. This is Nazi Germany. This is, Nazi America. And it's right in front of our eyes. And, with the censorship and all of that, the doctors being censored, sensible medical people being censored. You can't get the truth. People think that, there's no informed consent. And the Nuremberg Code demands that there be informed consent before you become the subject of an experiment. So, other
Yeah.
than
So
that,
that's
everything's good, right?
yeah.
Will, everything's good.
Well,
So.
yeah. Other than that, the sun's coming
Other
up
than
every
that,
morning.
yeah,
The
yeah,
birds are singing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're right. No, you've said it very well. I think that's the case. Look a little bit deeper and try to see, how we got ourselves into this position. And I've done that somewhat in some articles I've written over the last year. And maybe I'll just say briefly. I think, really what it is underlying everything is animal agriculture, because the mentality of animal agriculture essentially is the mentality of disconnecting ourselves from nature and from animals and from our own essential wisdom and our own essential compassion. And so we've been doing this for 10,000 years now. And unfortunately, as the years go by, this materialism of just disconnecting ourselves from the spiritual wisdom that we have and from our true nature has gotten deeper and deeper, and to the point now where materialism reigns supreme. People think that nothing exists, and especially in science, unless you can measure it, right? So and you look at a cow, you don't see a being, you buy and sell them by the pound. You buy and sell these animals by the pound. And pretty soon
They're not even
we
a cow
completely
anymore. They're called protein, right? So
yeah, there's
animals
just
have diminished to
it's
being called
beef.
protein, or just a commodity, right? So,
Exactly. It's just a commodity. So we keep doing that, and pretty soon we become the commodities. And we have so alienated ourselves from nature that we're afraid of nature. We're afraid of everything around us. We are ourselves. Anyone who's eating animal foods is an invisible predator, right? If I go to the store or to the restaurant and I just take out my wallet and pay for a hamburger or eggnog or eggs, whatever, somewhere because of me, an animal will be horribly abused, confined, raped, and killed. And, but they won't see me doing it. It'll be invisible. It'll be someone else doing it. So we've been sowing those seeds, and now we find this whole society is filled with people who are terrified of invisible predators. They're these microorganisms, these bacteria and viruses, which are all out to get us. And so we have to fight them with toxic chemicals that we test on animals. And so we force animals to suffer in all these vivisection experiments to create these so-called vaccines and other medications. And then we put them into our own bodies. Then they go through our bodies, they go back into the environment, and they make the poor animals sick again. And wildlife, all these animals are suffering massively because we have lost our basic wisdom because of 10,000 years of animal agriculture. And I hate to say it, but the vegan movement itself, it seems to me, is being co-opted by people who have been brain poisoned by their education, at the hands of education. Especially younger people in the movement just seem to believe whatever the mainstream media is saying, and whatever they think science is saying, and that we should be vaccinated, even though it's well known that all traditional vaccines always have animal in them. So we're sticking animal cells right into our veins, like you were saying, Bob. But they're always tested on animals, and even these new ones, the GMO, these are genetic modification injections. They modify our own gene. We become a GMO. They're also tested on animals. They may not have animal ingredients, although they do have these proteins that come from human fetuses. So they have the human animal products in them, but they're also all tested on animals. So there's nothing vegan about any of this. And so I don't see why we're so quick and easy to forsake our veganism, because we think that we're going to be sick from this hypothetical virus. This virus has never been isolated. It's never been properly diagnosed. In fact, there is no diagnosis for COVID. This is one of the biggest scams, really, is the use of the so-called the PCR test, which the inventor of the PCR test, Kerry Mullis, said you can never diagnose anything with this test. And so what they've been doing is they've been running the diagnostic amplification levels at around 35 or 40 times, which basically always will find a positive. You can always find anything. You can find anything. And what they just did, Bob, I don't know if you've noticed this, is that they've been getting all this flack because all these people are vaccinated. Now they're all testing positive. They're called breakthrough cases. They make it sound like some great thing, a breakthrough case. So these people are getting sick who have been vaccinated. They're not sick, but they're testing positive. And so now the CDC, in its incredible deceptive absurdity, is just made an announcement that the people who are not vaccinated you're going to get tested still at 35 or 40, so you'll get plenty of false positives. But those people who have been vaccinated, you have to only use 26 cycles for them, so they'll never test positive. So now they've got the game has already been rigged, but they're even publicly rigging it. They're just laughing in our faces, really, at how idiotic and gullible human beings are, and people are still following this COVID religion. COVID has become a religion. What do you do in the COVID religion? Well, you wear a mask and you social distance and you believe whatever the authorities say, and then you do the great sacrament. You roll up your sleeve and you get yourself genetically modified, and it's all faith-based. You just believe the science. We just go through our day saying, I trust the science. I trust the Pope, His Eminence, the great Fauci, and His Eminence, the great WHO people, and Mario Cuomo and Newsom and all these people. And in truth, these are the very people who, if we had a Nuremberg 2 trial, which we should have, they would be put to death. And the lower level government officials would also end up in jail, and most of the doctors would end up in jail, because when they use that excuse that they were just following orders, that didn't matter, because if you're following orders that go against fundamental human principles, constitutional principles of life, liberty, and respect, then you don't have that as an excuse. You go to jail. And why are we listening to these people? That's what I'm totally shocked, that we're still listening, that we're trusting these people as vegans. I mean, as non-vegans, we shouldn't be, but especially as vegans. And I think it's past time for us to really sound the alarm here and begin to realize that we, especially as vegans, have a sacred obligation to the animals and to future generations and to human beings and human animals, not to comply with these tyrannical fascist dictates, and to make the effort to and do our due diligence to really look at what is actually happening, and not just believe the propaganda from the pharmaceutical industry controlled media.
Oh, Will, I
So there it
love
is.
what you're saying so much. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to hear words of truth, and I am in such agreement with you that that's why those are words of truth, because I agree with you. Now, half the people out there, half the people are there are already sending us fact checkers, with
Yeah, right.
what whatever, but I'm in agreement. And also, how did this happen to vegans? I don't understand. Like, did they did they change vegans' genetic code by watching Rachel Maddow? Did they send out something
Right.
that, because like I said before, we always were against, vivisection, experimentation on the innocent. And then suddenly we, the vegans, are the voice of Big Pharma. And we were always against genetic engineering and Monsanto. I marched against Monsanto. I always have to say, I was the first person arrested protesting against genetic engineering in California, because I had the megaphone, which of course is the cop magnet, and we were marching along, and I'm saying, and I come up with those jingles, we don't want no potato engineered by Monsanto. Immediately I'm in handcuffs, and with good
Great.
reason, probably, for the poetry itself. But but everybody was against GMO and Monsanto, all the vegans, and now they are willing to become GMOs themselves. They are allowing themselves to become GMOs, and I point this out, and again, the reaction is, "You've lost your mind, you're crazy, whatever." But I think it's the case, and where do we go once we become a GMO, and what will they do in the future? And like you say, the tyranny where, if you don't have a vaccine passport, or they read the chip on you, or whatever they inject from Microsoft, that allows your health history to be read, so you can go into a concert or use the restroom or travel or go to school or whatever it might be. Now,
Mm.
Microsoft, like, here I am on one of Bill Gates' products, which is Skype, and I've had so much trouble with Skype in the last week that it, my own Skype ID, it thinks I'm a contact of myself. I can't get control of my own ID. So that so once Skype works perfectly, maybe I'll consider the vaccine, but not really. And and then Windows and Microsoft products. I mean, how often
All
do
the
they have to be
viruses, right?
right? All the viruses there, and these people are patenting. They're patenting viruses. They're planning this. This is like such a moneymaker. Like really, like what a marketing scheme. And the whole virus thing. If I say I think it was created in a lab in Wuhan, um, okay, so I'll alienate half the audience on that. And people look at this being a plandemic, a scamdemic. You know, a lot of political missions were accomplished by this. So
Oh my gosh, what a massive wealth transfer. I mean, it's a massive wealth transfer, a massive power transfer.
hmm
We human beings have gone. If the average human being loses economic freedom, right? I mean, that's your basic freedom to kind of come and go, and then you have in your spare time you can be a voice for the animals, right? But if we lose our economic freedom, if we're dependent on the government, if businesses are just wiped out, the whole middle class and small and medium-sized businesses are being destroyed systematically, and then we at the same time we lose our basic rights, and especially not only our freedom of speech, but also the freedom of informed consent, of a bodily autonomy. I mean, this is incredibly powerful stuff that's happening. It's unthinkable that we would allow this to be happening,
yeah,
and
yeah,
yet
it's at that level.
we're not speaking up. I mean, that's what is the most shocking thing to me. I've still have never worn a mask. I refuse to wear a mask. I'm not part of that religion. And I think that when we do that, we're allowing this face diaper we're putting on to just basically hide our smile, hide our power, hide our beauty, hide our voice, hide our creativity, hide our ability to stand up and be a voice for those who are voiceless. We're muzzling our own voice. We're hiding behind this mask, just the way these corporations hide behind this mask. Oh, we're benevolent. We care about you. We make products that'll keep you healthy. Don't worry about what you're eating. Don't worry about all the poisons in the water and the air. None of that matters. We'll just give you whatever medication you need. Just go to your local drug pusher, the doctor, and he'll give you whatever you need to be healthy. So it doesn't matter if the water and air and soil are all toxified. We have products. They're chemicals, but they're good for you. And so they hide behind this mask of benevolence, just like the financial institutions and the governmental institutions hide. And we don't see it. How is it possible? When we're as vegans, we can see it. We see the being in the hamburger. We look behind the mask and we see what's really there. How is it possible we don't see what this really is? That we are being lied to, and then we put a mask on ourselves under this illusion that there are these invisible entities. I mean, we have 10 times as many bacteria and fungus, little beings living in our body than we have our own cells. If they died, we would die immediately. These are not our enemies. We have many trillions more viruses. If they died, we would die. This idea that we're at war with nature, that we're at war with bacteria and virus is an absolute insane idea. This whole idea, it's just been put into our heads. We've been brainwashed by the educational system, by the pharmaceutical medical complex for so long. We actually believe this stuff, and that puts us in the position that we're easily victimized by this. And so it's essential that human beings start to get back in touch with the beauty of nature and the beauty of who they are and of who animals are and of our own natural healing capacities. These so-called sicknesses are just the body's wonderful intelligence cleansing from all the chemicals and toxins that these chemical and pharmaceutical companies, which are the same thing, basically the sicker
Yeah,
people
and
who are
I
healthy,
don't know
they don't make money.
how have you gotten away without wearing a mask? You don't go into a Safeway or any stores or.
Well, but I live up in Lake County, and so the local grocery store here and the local post office, and most of these they let us in. We say we have a medical exemption if they ask, and we go right in, and they know us now. And there's more and more people actually doing that. We're trying to encourage people to take advantage of the basic fact that it is absolutely unconstitutional and unlawful to keep people out of a business if you're not wearing a face covering. So you have no right to do that. And so, and when we were in Florida, of course, it was quite a bit easier. But I just don't do it. I mean, I'm not going to go in. Sometimes we have to stand outside, like when we go to Santa Rosa, we have to stand outside and they bring the food to us or something. But we just don't. My wife and I are.
I mean, isn't it amazing? First of all, I wish I had stock in the mask industry a
Oh my
few years
gosh, I
back. I mean,
know. We were all trying to protect. I remember when it was like no plastic straws, no plastic bags. We were all trying to save the environment. Now we don't care. We just throw everything away, throw masks away, throw
billions of
everything
masks
away.
going into the
Billions, right,
oceans,
right.
into
I
the
mean, yeah,
waterways, and there's no
right.
proof that they work at all, and it seems that the
None.
studies show that they're somewhat harmful. I mean, just from a
Absolutely.
logical point of view of breathing in your own exhalation, and how we're cutting down on oxygen coming in and our
Oh,
carbon dioxide going out. When the trees need to breathe our carbon dioxide, we're hurting trees by wearing the masks. So.
right. Yeah, it's unprecedented to have healthy people being told that they're sick, right, by this test. It's a total hoax. Having healthy people having to social distance from each other, having healthy people, with no symptoms, right? If you don't have symptoms, you're healthy. Wearing masks and social distancing from each other and shutting down their businesses. I mean, how do we tolerate such absolute insanity for this long? I mean, I mean, even for 1 week would be too long, but to go on like this and to give away our power like this, it's like, I was thinking about it. It's kind of like if you have just five guys, right? You have five cowboys, and they're not even very intelligent. They're not even very skilled, but you have these five guys, and they've been told, okay, you got to round up 500 cows. You get these 500 cows, and they're much bigger. They're much more powerful than one cowboy, and there's only five cowboys. The thing is, these guys, even without being very skillful, they'll be successful in doing it. All they have to do is just spook them. They just spook the cows. They just yell and scream, and they go, all the cows run this way, all the cows run that way, and these five guys can just spook away and spook these cows right into a chute, right into a slaughter. And we're the same way. I mean, we're allowing a few people who aren't very strong and aren't very smart to just spook us. And they spook us here, they spook us there, they push us over there. We run just like complete, without any sense, without any critical abilities of any kind. And we just follow each other and run here and run there and right into the slaughter chute. And down we go. And allowing ourselves to just be spooked. And I think it's disgraceful that people have given away have had their intelligence so subverted by this
Fear
educational
sells.
system.
Fear,
Yeah,
fear is a great
fear is
sales
it.
tool. You
They're
had
just spooking
911
everybody.
and then the Patriot Act, so along comes this, and
Right,
based on fear, and they just happen to have the vaccine that's not a vaccine ready to go, and who knows, you
right.
might need another booster in 6 months, or one every year, or one every day, or I mean, like, just keep the money coming in, so. And it's interesting that use they're calling it what, herd immunity, right? So it's all, isn't that the goal, is herd immunity? So here we are, part of the herd and becoming products, and we will have our own code, right? Our own, and we can do our banking and our show our health records to everyone. Show us your papers, or show us your chip, or whatever. And I've been thinking, I did spend many years out there protesting, with the megaphone, and I would think
Yeah.
these days would call on people being out there with a megaphone at these mass vaccination events that they have, at the fairgrounds or somewhere,
Oh,
to demand that people be informed that they could be killed by this. I mean, Who knows what could
Right.
happen from this? And yet, so many people. I put it out there what the potential risks might be, and everybody's an expert on. Oh no, how perfect these little computer things work. The little zeros and ones that are there to
Oh.
reprogram your cells. That we've never had our cells genetically programmed like this, tricking our own immune system. What can go wrong?
Yeah, it's something that you can never cleanse from the body. Like even the horrible adjuvants of normal traditional vaccines, like mercury and aluminum and polysorbate and all so many things that have been used that are extremely toxic. There are potential ways to cleanse from those, but when you have something that's actually reprogramming trillions and trillions of cells in your body, that's it. It's done, and it's going on to your children, and it's just sterilization. I mean, I think that's really what we're looking at here. And people, I thought maybe there's a silver lining to this. I thought, well, maybe vegans will not get the vaccine, and so ultimately it'll be vegans that will inherit the earth, right? I mean, if we're the only ones that don't get the vaccine, then eventually that'll be how it could go. But
Yeah. Well, it
the most
looks like
important thing, I think, is
maybe half the vegans will inherit the earth. It looks like
maybe
maybe.
half the vegans.
Yeah. So,
I
and
think we're a little
I
more.
don't really know how many people, how many vegans are for this vaxocide or vaxicide, whatever it might be. Some are vocal, but maybe a great majority. I do hear a lot of support from people who are happy that we are exploring these issues, which are unallowed to be explored anywhere. I mean, um, they were able to use these injections because of emergency authorization. These are not approved, and they would not have been approved had there been a cure known or a prevention. And yet,
Right.
forever, doctors out there, oh, the crazy anti-vax doctors, who most doctors seem to be for vax. So the only anti-vax person I think I know is I don't. Maybe you are, Will, but nobody will admit to it. You know what I mean? It's like admitting to like, oh, the worst
Oh,
thing.
I'm
But
I'm I'm very 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 much anti-vax. I mean, no, I have no problem saying it.
all right, so
I
we are
mean,
the
it's
only two
insane.
people who will admit to being anti-vax.
I'm
So
totally anti-vax.
So, so all of these doctors out there say that hydroxychloroquine is a solution, is a cure, is a prevention, can be used for
Yeah.
treatment, in some way, and they're out there with that. Yet, the media and the medical establishment did an anti-hydroxychloroquine campaign way back, um, citing a Lancet study talking about
Oh,
science being bought and sold. The Lancet study was bought, and then it had to be retracted that hydroxychloroquine injures the heart. So that was the claim that kept people away from hydroxychloroquine while they're able to do these vaccines. If people knew that there were a cheap drug out there, which I think is suitable for vegans, I would say I may have
yeah.
Googled it, but I don't Google. I DuckDuckGo because
It's
Google is so biased now. I can't even use Google as like fact checked. Everything is
Yeah. It
fact
just comes
checked.
from quinine. It's a kind of a basic thing. It's yeah. It's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. And very inexpensive. It's been used for 60 years, and no side effects for anybody really. Pregnant women can use it. Yeah. No, that would have completely killed the whole injection thing. But of course, that was any doctors who talked about that lost their jobs and were brutally censored
Right.
by
Right.
the big
And this
pharma.
censorship,
And
I've
so
never seen anything like the censorship and propaganda going on today. I mean, I can't imagine
you're right.
Pravda or East Germany or
No,
I think they probably had more access to some real
definitely.
information than now. This is criminal too. So as part of this whole genocide and Nuremberg 2.0 or whatever it might be, I vote for Facebook and Twitter and Google and YouTube. All of them. On your way to Guantanamo, everybody, everybody. I mean, this is
That
this is
has
so
to happen.
weird. I was at there was a a wonderful couple in LA that had been vegan for many years, and their house used to be the center of gatherings, Kobe Siegenthaler and Hans, and so we'd be there often, and people traveling from all over the world would come by, who were vegans, and so there was a guy there one night at a party from Germany, and I said to him, how did Hitler happen? Like, how could that have happened with the Nazis? And he said to me, well, how did George W. Bush happen? Who happened to be the president at the same time, who was doing a war and killing 1 million people in Iraq over weapons of mass destruction, which was supported by the media, all the lies in the media also. So that was an equivalent. I'm sure the 1 million people who died in Iraq, feel similarly.
Right.
And now I think,
Right.
how is this happening now? How is this flagrant violation of the Nuremberg Code happening worldwide? It's like there's a history of medical experimentation from the Nazis, 30,000 doctors participating in Nazi experiments. There's Tuskegee Institute. There's Tuskegee, in the U.S., and Sloan Kettering cancer, giving people cancer. I mean, it's like, how do we trust these people? The Nazis who were prosecuted at the Nuremberg trials, many of them were executed, and many of them, upon release, joined the pharmaceutical industry.
In the United States, right?
Well, there's nothing more Nazi than what's going on right now, and they're bringing this to children, and 15 and 16-year-olds are reported dying from getting injected, and now they're going to test on babies. This is, I mean, in terms of profiteering, this is an amazing, profitable marketing scheme. That if you want to make hundreds of billions of dollars, statistically, what are a few thousand people here and there? And when does it become a Holocaust or genocide? Because if you add up Europe and the U.S. right now, there are about 12,000 deaths and close to 500,000 adverse events. And in the U.S., 16,000 serious injuries, and probably higher in the EU. So
Right.
when does it, at what number does it become genocide, and not just people defending the technology because they're computer programmers and they think a bunch of zeros and ones should be working to defeat some disease and virus that who knows what exists, and all the numbers have been manipulated for forever. So did
Right.
anybody die of coronavirus this year, or was it the flu? Because
Right.
suddenly there were no flu deaths this year, and they
Yeah.
wanted the numbers up high, so they brought the sick people into the nursing homes, Cuomo and other states. So this is the greatest crime against humanity, and I would appreciate if vegans wouldn't call me stupid anymore.
Oh my gosh. You're right. It's a really it's a I don't know what the word is, demonic
Demonic.
actual
It is
uh,
demonic.
uh, series. It's kind of a rollout. I mean, it's like this relentless rollout of a demonic
Tyranny. A demonic
tyranny
tyranny.
on
Yeah.
on humans, and it's ultimately um, I just have to say, when 10,000 years ago, when humans started for the first time herding cows and sheep and goats, they were living before they were wild, they were free, they were just living their lives. And then 10,000 years ago, some human beings said, let's just own these animals and herd them. And if those cows and sheep and goats could have somehow thought to themselves and said, no, don't let this happen, because man, can you imagine the suffering that's going to happen to our children and grandchildren for the next 10,000 years and maybe longer if we let this happen? Well, look, I mean, we're in a similar situation. I mean, this is it. I mean, we shouldn't be allowing this to happen, to be herded in such a violent and ridiculous way. like we're just objects, and
And it
to
shouldn't have
let
been
fear
allowed
push
to
us
happen.
around.
It shouldn't have been allowed to happen to the other animals too, who are
Exactly. It's because of
feeling
that.
sensitive beings.
Exactly.
And it turns
Exactly.
out we are what we eat, right? So if
Yeah.
it's torture and fear and terror
Right.
and death, I mean, this diet
We're right.
of death. It's a, it's like, how are we getting nutrition from dead bodies everywhere?
Right.
So, and mad cow
Exactly.
disease. Now mad cow disease will come home to roost, apparently, if predictions are right on the
The
effect.
prions.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
prions and yeah, so the spongiform encephalopathy. So
Mhm.
yeah. So
Well, thanks, Bob. I think we probably can't go on forever, but I think we
we
can maybe
probably could.
end
That's
with.
the problem. We could
I mean, we
probably.
could go on forever because we need to. but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of something positive to end with. I think,
I was trying
I
to
mean, I
lead
do.
you into that, but I couldn't think of a positive way to lead you into something positive. So,
Right. Well, we still have our sense of humor. We still have some freedom to speak. Like here we are. We are actually speaking. This will go up and be heard by at least some people, and they can tell their friends. And so while we have the capacity here to still understand that 2 + 2 = 4, and we can still string things together, and we haven't been replaced by robotic AI devices
yet,
and farmed, then
yet,
we need to absolutely bring this to your local representatives and county supervisors, and to just spread this. I mean, we need a massive pushback against this kind of thing.
why
That's
do
the
I
most
feel
important thing
that
we can do.
everybody in politics is bought by this? You know what I mean? Even
Right.
here in the county where I am, and the commissioners, and they're all having vaccination events. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like bought and sold up and down. That's the problem. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speaks out against it, and suddenly he's a lunatic too. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like almost the need for the grassroots effort and once again, it's the vegans who, it's really a shame if they lose their moral compass, because if the vegans lose their moral compass, I don't know, they,
You're
they,
right. That's it. That's the thing. I mean, of all the people in the world who should be absolutely all over this and really screaming about the tyranny and oppression and domination and medical violence against sentient beings, it would be us, right? And I'm, you and I are doing the best we can, but we should have a lot more people
well,
who are
there
on the
are
same
others.
side.
There are
Yeah, there are.
many
No,
good
there are.
vegans who feel like we
Yes,
do.
absolutely. You're
So
right. There are many,
yeah,
and I'm so grateful for that. There's a lot
me
of
too.
people. It would be great to have a more of a
It would be good if it were a hundred
united effort.
percent
So
like it should be. It should be 100%. It,
yeah,
it it makes no sense for any
obviously,
vegan,
right.
and then I don't know. It's just mystifying how the brain poisoning can happen. I mean, like I put out a post on what the ingredients were in some of these pseudo vaccines, in the injections, and somebody wrote back to me and says, those ingredients are debunked. Here, look at this Reuters article, which of course Reuters is biased anyway. But the ingredients I listed, I got from a CDC link to the manufacturers of the injections. So it
Right.
was it was what they listed, and people are still trying to fact check and debunk me on that. Which may be true. Who knows what else they put in the injections for whatever nefarious reason. But anyway,
Yeah.
Will, I really I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you said, and your perspective is just so important for people to hear. And I love what I heard. I wanted to jump in. Like everything you said, it was like I had something to like jump in about it, and
Yeah.
it
I
was
know.
like, no, shut up for a change, Bobby. Try to just be quiet. This is what needs to be heard. So I really appreciate that. you gave us what needs to be heard today. Really, really
Well,
important.
thank you so much, Bob. Thanks everyone for listening. We really, in many ways, I have to say, only scratched the surface here, but you can get a sense of the enormity of the challenge we're facing and the enormity of each one of us as individuals doing the best we can to stay informed and to speak up about this and to be a voice for compassion for all living beings. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, if we just scratch the surface, then come back soon and we'll scratch deeper.
Go a little deeper.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All
And
right.
and we'll tell people something about your book or contacts or
Oh,
anything you want to.
sure. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, if anyone's interested, you can find out more about the work that I'm doing in Madeline, my wife, at worldpeacediet.com. We have our tour schedule, which is still happening. We do public lectures when we can. We just did a bunch in Florida. We have online events. We have our training, the World Peace Diet Facilitator training. We have lots of videos, music, art, veganism, cooking videos, organic, veganic gardening, and essays that I'm writing about all these issues also. So please say hello and stay in touch and keep up the great work of spreading the vegan message of compassion for all beings. Thanks.
Thank you, Will Tuttle. Thanks for being with us, and we will talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, this is Go Vegan Radio with Bob Linden at goveganradio.com, where you can make a donation. Find the donate button at goveganradio.com, where you will also find, about 650 archived programs that have been saved over the years. We started this program 20 years ago on KRLA in Los Angeles, and then subsequently went to radio stations in the Bay Area, KYCY and Green 960 and the Quake, and then the Air America Radio Network. Now we are podcasting. I want to thank you for joining us on today's special episode, or our special emergency edition, the appropriately alarming discussion that we just had with Dr. Will Tuttle. I thank him so much for his honesty and what he brought to today's program. So again, I want to thank you for listening, and if you can support us, because we did not get any censorship donation from Bill Gates to keep today's show off the air. I'll let you know if we get a donation from Bill Gates to delete today's program. It's unlikely. You know, he's tied up in an ugly divorce right now. But you can support our efforts by clicking donate at goveganradio.com. Thank you for listening.